This is the limestone lowdown. Hear the sound when you lie through the issues all around. From every corner, let's make it clear. The change we need is starting here.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Limestone Lowdown. This is the second part of our third city council meeting, and it's about to get real juicy. Amanda, would you like to pick up with what happened next?
So we are continuing on from the September 16th, 2024 city council meeting. This was our third city council meeting, and this is where we had discussed Mr. Seibert not having business licenses and the little bit of, I guess, penalty that
Disgusting.
that the city imposed on him, and that his accountant got up and spoke on behalf of him, saying that all of his taxes, and mind you that they have a business venture together who also they didn't have a city business license together, so somebody you would think would know the city ordinances. So yes, that's where we are at up to now. And prior to this city council meeting, we got there and we sat down, and this man came. He was already sitting down when we had walked in, and I went and sat down and with Jared, and then he came and sat down beside me, and he started, talking to me about the first city council meeting, and was telling me that that I needed to go and talk to these chicken plants. I needed it because he had seen this point. Then, there had been several news stories that were done. There was a lot of traction going on in Athens, and gaining a lot of traction with the people and what was going on. And he's like, you really need to steer the news people to the chicken plants. And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, no. And he's like, the chicken plants are the ones that brought them here, not them, pointing towards the council. And I was like, well, I got a job. This is their job. If they want to take the heat away from them, then they needed to take them to the news people, not me. And then he was like, this is not an ethics violation. This is a conflict of, or this isn't an ethics violation. I was like, why is he saying that? Like, I've only ever used the term conflict of interest. So where this ethics violation, what he was talking about, I was kind of shocked. And about that time, Jared leaned over to me and was like, someone sent him to talk to you. Just quit talking to him. And so I kind of wrapped up that conversation. I was like, oh, by the way, like, what's your name? And he ended up telling me his name was John Plunk. Well, at the time, that meant nothing. I mean, we're not from here. We've only been here for 4 years, and we're not part of the Athena group or the elite crowd. We've just met people, through church or ball games and things like that. So we weren't aware that this family was one of the bigger families of the towns. They come to find out him and his wife own several pharmacies here. They have a multitude of LLCs. John Plunk is on one of the neighborhood developments with Kenny Winter. Is that right? Was that one of the developers?
Was it Canebrake?
No, it's Kenny Winters, like that. Oh my gosh, that Southern Charm or something. We've looked at so many. We've looked at so many since then. So yeah, he owns several different business ventures where it's like a nursing home, pharmacy, and he's part of one of the doing business developments here. I've heard rumors that he's always in the mayor's back pocket and getting the mayor and city council to approve various things to get things passed within the city. What was it that the easements or something that they weren't following the ordinances with the neighborhood?
Oh, the master plan. Off 31, you're
right.
Not supposed to just turn off 31 directly in the subdivisions. You're supposed to have a turn lane.
Right,
You're supposed to be certain ways, and not doing that. But I think more importantly that we discovered that he was on the Alabama Ethics Commission, and he had just recently, earlier in 24 gotten off that. And like Amanda said, he had said the words, "This is not an ethics violation," which was very weird because all we'd said is it's a conflict of interest. But we had filed an ethics complaint against Mr. Seibert. And this is like out of nowhere, he's saying, well, this is not an ethics violation.
We hadn't told anybody.
We told no one. So that let us know right there that obviously he may not still be on the commission, but he obviously somebody called him and let him know what was going on.
Well, and what's funny is Mark had filed ethics complaints against him multiple times, and it never went anywhere.
Well, he had to answer, and we saw all Mark's stuff, but he didn't do what he said he did, and then the state of Alabama never came back and checked up on it.
Yeah, they just took him at his word, which is garbage. But
exactly.
Yeah, so John Plunk was on the Alabama Ethics Commission, and we had submitted an ethics violation, basically that he was using his position for personal gain. Now, mind you, the only reason we even thought about filing this was because in this time frame, I think it was like last August, like August 2024, there was something that came out on AL.com about
a pickleball game.
A pickleball tournament.
A charity pickleball tournament
yes.
in Huntsville, okay? After hour pickleball tournament for charity, and they were fined $5,000 for a charity pickleball game.
So we're like, if a charity pickleball tournament is an ethics violation, surely to goodness, a city councilman who did not
by all appearances is directing these folks to his house.
And not even that, because what you have to do is that you're using your position for personal gain. And so we knew, but we were like, okay, well, he's not had business licenses for the last 12 years. The city admitted that he didn't, and he wasn't claiming his LLCs. So were his taxes messed up? And, the average Joe, which we had proof, had that it's like they were found out immediately. It was like their business license lapsed, and the city was reaching out to them like the next day. So we found the irony there.
And I think you already told the story about the person that reached out to us and said that they had the rental houses and they weren't charging what the city thought was the correct amounts, and they were hounding them about that. And then about the guy
that their
that
revenue was too low, that their income was too low.
And then the guy with the home.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last episode.
So that just goes to show you that they will go after certain people, just not
the day
all
after,
people.
And then a friend of mine here that owns a business, her business license ran up like January 3rd. So right after the new year, and like January 5th, literally someone from the city knocked on her door and was like, hey, your business license is expired. You have to pay this now or shut your door.
So we just find it very suspicious that
this
went on for years.
12 years. The math just ain't mathing on that. So we're just not buying it. But anyways, kind of digressing on that, back to Mr. Plunk. So again, he was like, so at this point we knew that the Alabama Ethics Commission was going to be useless. Later on, we find out that multiple people had filed ones for various things against various people, and it never went anywhere.
Squashed.
Yeah, everything. And this
no ethics violations ever in Limestone County.
And it wasn't like all of this within the last like 90 days. It was like over years these ethics violations had been submitted.
Yeah, not just about Seibert, about various officials.
Various issues going on within the city and county, and none of them ever went anywhere. So we were just like, well, I guess they're bought off as well. I don't know however else to say it. So when we left there, so I asked, him like what his name was. We started kind of asking some people around town, who he was, figuring out who he was. And I told Jared, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try and call him and see if I can fill him out, bait him, because we had started getting some phone calls and messages from people that was like, hey, you might need to be careful because I've heard that Chris Seibert is going to sue you. And we're like, what? And then we heard that he was going to sue both of us. And we're like, on what grounds? the rumor was for defamation, whatever. We weren't really concerned because nothing that we've said wasn't true. So, anyways, I set up this plan. It was a Friday afternoon. I gave his office a call and I asked to speak with him. And of course, he was out to lunch. He might have been out the rest of the day. And I told the lady, left my contact information. And he ended up calling me back the following week, and him and I talked on the phone. Again, I was kind of just trying to fill him out. I was letting him know that I had heard rumors that we were going to be sued, and if he could represent me. Again, just want to say that I was never planning to use him. It was kind of just to fill him out, see what he knew, see what kind of information we could get from him, and see if he would take the bait, basically. I mean, he'd been practicing law, I'm sure, for like 40 years. I would like to think that if I was a good attorney, I would be able to pick up on something like that. But, here nor there, he took the bait. He ended up telling me that he wasn't going to be able to represent me, which I also wanted to hear. He told me that he had done some various attorney work for people, like within the county or city or something like that. I can't remember the exact offices, but he had done various work for people or for the city or county. And again, he was the attorney for Sheriff Mike Blakely when he was tried against the state. And we got off the phone, and this was on a Tuesday, and he did tell me that if I was looking for an attorney to use someone in Huntsville or Birmingham. So I'm just going to read y'all this text message that I got from him on 3 days later.
And you guys can decide for yourself what you think about it.
Yeah. So he's like, "Hey, Amanda, this is John Plunk. Chris Anderson," I know y'all have heard that name a bunch. "Chris Anderson, the managing partner at Malden and Jenkins, and who does tax work for Chris Seibert, is on this. It occurred to me you might meet with him and Chris Seibert and explain what you want to accomplish. They may not be able to answer all your concerns, but I don't see any loss to just discuss. They would have a lady present to take notes, so you won't be uncomfortable. They suggest that the meeting be with just you. Your husband seemed to get upset at the first council meeting and yelled. I don't necessarily disagree with them, but you appear to be calm, cool, and collected and have legitimate concerns. You can respond to Chris directly." So, I'm sure you all can come to your own opinions on there, and we'll kind of just dissect this little by little. So, called John Plunk kind of to bait him. Honestly, I never would have thought he would have taken the bait. I mean, did you?
No, not at all.
I mean, I would have never dreamed in a million years.
Funny thing is, he hasn't come back to a city council meeting since then.
He came to one. I think he came to one more.
Because
he was out in the hall. Remember? I went to the
but
bathroom?
he never came in.
I don't think he came in. Yeah, he's not been. He came to 3 in a row, and then he came to one more, and then he's not been back since. So he took the bait, and then had sent me a text message with Chris Anderson, and we'll go through this text message, kind of talk it out, and then we'll talk about the phone call that I also get from Chris Anderson. So, he opens it up to try to put it back on me that, hey, you can talk to them directly. They can probably help you. But then they would have a lady present. They suggested that the meeting be with just you. So obviously, John Plunk and Chris Anderson and Chris Seibert have talked. They've colluded together to come up with this idea on silencing us. Or what can we do to make them leave us alone?
And then they've gone to try to portray me as this loud, I can't control myself or whatever. After he used the words, "You need to do some soul searching" to Amanda, I yelled out, "You're a slumlord." And that's it. That is what this whole basis of me yelling at, that's what they've ran with. And then also it's gotten back to us about real defamation for a private citizen.
Yeah,
you know.
there's really not a whole lot that they can do on that. So they offered to have a lady present. So again, they've talked about this. And then that your husband seemed to get upset at the first council meeting and yelled. Like they're so afraid. And for anybody that's met Jared, I'm definitely more of the bulldog than he is. Maybe the beard gets you.
Maybe so.
I don't know.
But they don't live with you, so they don't get to see the mean Amanda.
They don't see
the public perception is how nice you are.
Well, I think it's so funny that I really was like played this like damsel in distress, like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid they're gonna sue me, like, can you help me? And he just bought right into it. I was like, man, I deserve an Academy Award for my acting ability.
So how we take it is that this was either to a threat or a bribe.
Right.
I mean, I don't really see any other way to see it besides that. I mean, again, that's our personal opinion, and generally everybody that we've kind of shared this with has the same opinion of that.
Right. So here was my response. I said, hi, Chris. I'm not sure what talking to me will do. I'm not owed an explanation about his taxes, but I do feel he and the mayor's office owes the residents of Athens an explanation. But I'm not trying to accomplish anything. So then immediately I get a phone call from Chris Anderson's number, and I wouldn't have answered it. I didn't have the number saved, but I saw an Athens number, and I didn't know if it was like something locally. Anyways, I just answered because it was as soon as I hit send, and he answered the phone. I'm guessing because he didn't want anything to be in writing or to be brought out. And him and I had I guess it was probably about a 10-minute conversation where we were kind of going back and forth about, he answered, when I answered the phone, he was very nice. He was never rude or condescending on the phone. He was more so just trying to say, he did say, we're not trying, he said, I don't want you to think that we're trying to intimidate you. And I was like, oh, well, that's funny because I definitely feel like you are. And why would I meet with you and Chris Seibert at your accounting firm? Like, you are not, like, you're not his attorney, you're his accountant. And he says, well, Chris said he would be willing to meet with any of his constituents. I was like, well, I'm not one of his constituents. I live in a completely different district. I ended up saying that, like, well, I'm not from here. Like, I don't know who you are. And he was like, oh, you're not from here. And it was almost like, okay, well, good. She doesn't know the whole dynamic of how we're like all connected together. But
we do now, guys.
Yeah, I had no idea. But I ended up telling him that I didn't think that it was a good idea for me to meet them. But if Chris Seibert wanted to meet with me, because I didn't initiate this. Even when I talked to John Plunk, I never initiated talking to Chris Seibert. The only thing that I said was, I've heard that he's going to sue us. And I was asking if he could represent me. Again, that was all just to feel him out. But man, this has been a lot of work. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I should have went and met him just to see how it played out.
And the funny thing is, little do they know that they could have got a lot further with me than Amanda.
I know.
I would have just been, Amanda, stop asking questions. It's settled. And, if a brand new car shows up, don't ask questions. The less you know, the better.
Yeah. So,
but who knows?
I mean, yeah, he would have definitely been the one to win over. I would have been too afraid to go without him, and then and I'm like, okay, we're about to get some money. And he'd have been like, what? That's so wrong. You can't do that. So like I wouldn't even accept meeting them. He had me at, we'll have somebody there with you, to where it was basically, and I even said that, I was like, you're going to have a lady there that works in your office. So whether she's a female or not, it's still 3 against 1. Like, I'm not doing that. But again, aside from that, like, he was nice. We had a good conversation. We didn't have, I guess there was no argument. There was no voice raising. He wasn't rude or condescending. So it was as respectful as you could. It was just the irony. And at this city council meeting, I got up and read this. I read the text message verbatim. I even read that a person reached out to me to connect me with Chris Seibert and his accountant and that this accountant does city work, and that they alluded to the fact of having a meeting off city property about something with Chris Seibert. And no one batted an eye. No one thought that was inappropriate. No one thought that was ridiculous. The news outlets at this point even told me, they're like, 48 News, the little guy who we had done several stories with, he texted me that particular afternoon, about 30 minutes before the business meeting started, and said, "Hey, Amanda, I am so sorry, but my management will not let me cover this anymore."
And that's not odd, is it?
Right. Anytime we tell somebody that, they're like, "What?" I even read him that text message. He was like, "Oh, they were going to bribe you." That's what everyone has been like. Most people have said it was a bribe.
More so than a threat.
Yeah, I think I'm the one that has said it's either bribe or threat, and everybody's like, "Oh no, they were definitely going to bribe you to shut you up." Someone else has said, "Yeah, that's kind of the
MO.
Yeah, is
how
what
it
they
goes.
do. Yeah, that's the process that goes down. So we're okay. So back to the city council. So that nobody batted an eye. Nobody.
Craziest thing.
It was the craziest thing. I have never in a million years thought that.
It's kind of like a mic drop moment, but none of them even reacted to it. It's like
nobody cared.
It's like you said, "Oh, I'm going to hometown," and
yeah,
like nothing, like just normal every day.
Nobody thought that this was an issue. That we've got a sitting city council member who has not had business licenses for the last 12 years.
That we called him out about it, and then lo and behold, his accountant shows up, and all this happens, and then the accountant reaches out after the fact, and nothing. Yeah. It's just like crazy.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. So,
a couple other things that happened during the meeting. They brought out the long-awaited Five Guys, Nothing But Cakes, and Texas Roadhouse that everybody been asking. So we even thought, okay, have you guys been holding on to that in your pocket, waiting to pull that out, try to distract a little bit? But of course, even with that, tax abatement. We gave away thousands. I mean, it's probably added up to over millions of dollars between those three businesses to yet again bring in business that desirable area guys.
And then the liquor store.
Yes. Mr. Wells' question about putting a standalone liquor store in the Lindsay Lane 72 public shopping center. It was too close to a church, but there was which is now just opened, a breakfast place could serve alcohol because it's a business and not a straight liquor store. It was okay, which still doesn't really make much sense.
Right.
But anyway, he at least questioned.
He did.
He said, this person reached out to me, so I'm going to find out the answer. So we do appreciate that.
Yeah, because he at least will follow through. Because people have said that that Chris Seibert literally will not answer his phone, will not email back. People have tried meeting with him, and he doesn't make time. They don't ever hear from him.
But he wants to meet with you, Amanda.
I know, which is the irony. That is crazy that he'll
a non-constituent.
Right. So that Mr. Wells at least wanted to get some clarity on that and wanted, ask the questions, which I do appreciate. I've talked to Mr. Wells about some of the stuff that was going on here, and he's been very nice. Him and Mr. Harper have rode around North Athens with Mark as well. So, but I appreciated that they asked the questions because that liquor store, it didn't get approved, right?
It did not.
Yeah, but him and the mayor, they were for sure going back and forth there for a minute. The mayor does not like anybody questioning.
Oh no questioning. I mean, that's real. Other than our buddy Cameron got up there and called them all traitors. I don't know where he's at. I haven't seen him since then. So that was kind of funny when he got up there. And I got up there after him and I said, well, I'm not quite as fired up as he is. Yet again, somebody else that's was more fired up than me.
Yeah.
But I'm the bad guy in all this. I'm the guy that can't control himself, apparently. But I got up there and expressed about the censorship of the Facebook, how we just shut the comments off. And it's still going on to this day, because we're going, as we talk now in the future, we're going back months, and it's still going on now. It's crazy how they,
it's January of 2025 as we're recording this.
That Friday before this city council meeting,
it's been 4 months and counting, and there's no plan to cut them back on, so they just.
And I ask every city council meeting, I ask the mayor, it's like, hey, what's going on with this? We still got it cut off. Any plans to turn it back on? And he usually either says nothing or scoffs in the microphone.
Literally scoffs.
It's just crazy.
But yeah, so I think that was kind of it. We just kind of wanted to have a separate time to kind of go over. This is where it starts getting really good, so we may have to have more than one, but still want to highlight some of the stuff that happened and the topics that were discussed. And I think the biggest thing that we've seen now is these new businesses that are coming in and the huge tax abatements that they're given. And it's
going to take years to recoup anything, and the city of Athens is always spending up front. And the fact that everybody's taxes have doubled.
Yeah.
So I hope they don't think, and I hope other people don't think that this is, it's great, this stuff coming in, but somebody's paying for it, a.k.a. us.
Well, I learned in Economics 101 when I was a sophomore in sophomore in college, there is no such thing as a free lunch. So you can give out all this free stuff.
Somebody's paying for it.
Somebody is going to pay for it.
And that is U.S. as in us.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for joining us today, and if you think that's it, it's not.
Yeah.
We've got even more juicy stuff coming up. So thanks again for listening.
Till next time.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Limestone Lowdown, where we break down the issues, keep you informed, and give you facts straight from the source. Remember, your voice matters. Your vote counts, and your community thrives when we stay engaged. Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay involved. Until next time, keep questioning, keep advocating, and keep shaping the future of the Limestone area. We'll see you on the next Limestone Lowdown.